How's it going, everyone? I wanted to revisit the equation Ben and I came up with for better autoregulation. The equation V plus E equals SP. It's velocity plus effort equals strength potential. So we've talked about what it means for powerlifting and strength sports, and kind of what that is there's two different variables, two different people or points of view that we need to take into consideration when judging a rep. That is the athlete's point of view, how it feels, and then how it looks. And this can both come from the athlete, but one needs to come from how it feels under the bar. One needs to come from a completely emotionless assessment from how it looks on the video, whether that's from the athlete or from the coach. So the velocity variable, that is just how it appears, how it looks, how fast it looks, or if you have a velocity tracker, how it actually reads on the machine. So the effort is the athlete's point of view. How did it feel? Okay. A lot of times something that shouldn't feel heavy might feel a little bit heavier. This is something to take into consideration because that might mean the athlete is a little bit tired that day. So we use this equation to pick our numbers and program for the actual day based on how we feel, right? So we might do our percentages based off of the top set of the RPE rather than a pre-prescribed percentage based off of something, a max that we took 12 weeks ago. We do this mainly because we find that, life has so many things to toss at us that it's kind of hard to plan, even more than 1 week ahead of time. So that's why we go off of the RPE scale rather than the pre-programmed scale. Now, Ben and I have recently had kind of a light bulb moment for how we can apply the VESP to bodybuilding. First, let me back up for a second. Let's go through the four numbers and what they mean for powerlifting. A 7 moves fast, feels light. Okay? An 8 moves fast, feels a little bit heavier. Or moves a little bit slower, but still feels very light. A 9 is, anywhere from a little bit slowed down to significantly slowed down. Feels anywhere from a little bit heavy to very heavy, but the form is 100% under control. There's zero technique breakdown. RPE 10, which we never programmed for in powerlifting, is the rep is completed with some loss of control, okay? We want to stay away from those as much as possible in training and reserve those for the platform. Now let's go into bodybuilding and what those numbers mean. In bodybuilding, we want quite a bit of control on the reps. The weight doesn't matter as much as the control. The weight does matter, but the control needs to be there first. So basically we just reverse the order of those numbers. A 7 now becomes a very slow rep. Very slow, but feels very light, okay? It's slow because you can control it that well. An 8 is a little bit harder to control because of the increase in weight, but you still have that same control. You're still able to move it just as slowly and control it. A 9, same thing. We can still control it very well, but the reps are going to decrease and the weight might go up a little bit. So a 9 is right at that line of having to sacrifice some technique, but you're still not doing it. It's still full range of motion, full control, full contraction, full stretch in the muscle, but you might start to see a little bit of that shakiness. And when we get past rep 10 and 11, you know, we might have to shut it down and call the set, right? Because we don't want to, it's pretty uncommon that we want to push into the territory of lack of control, both in bodybuilding and powerlifting. So we try to cut it off right at that point where you're going to start losing control, okay? Now a 10 is where we can categorize our drop sets, our failure sets, our partials, the T-drill sets, the sort of stuff, you know, the assisted reps with a coach or partner, anything where we're taking a little bit of control out of the equation in order to perform the rep, that would be classified as an RPE 10. Now, those do have their place in a bodybuilding program. And this kind of depends on your weaknesses, your training split, where you're at in the year. You know, once we get towards competition and we're a bit depleted, we stay away from that shit, okay? So they do have their place, all dependent on the athlete and the goal. But unlike powerlifting, we will program 10s into bodybuilding programs. So that's my take on the RPE scale, the auto-regulation, how we can apply both to powerlifting and bodybuilding. Hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments your feedback and if this helped or if you hated it, what I can do better. Thanks for watching.